Hello once again, it's your boy That's Snow Moon, and we are back. Now, you might have guessed from the title of the video, this is one special video. This is maybe my last video. I will explain also, make sure to stick around to the end of the video to find out all the answers to all your questions, like where the hell have I been, what have I been doing, what am I doing with my account, am I retiring the YouTube channel? So let's start at the start, I guess. Now, first and foremost, apologies to regular viewers and those of you who I was constantly interacting with, and I left content creation pretty abruptly after my last video. There was a few hints, and looking back at the commentary, all the warning signs were there, like burnt out, doing too much, you know, concerning about the numbers too much, etc., etc. So it was almost like a perfect storm because there was a lot of things that were happening in my real life, like my daughter wasn't well, had to give her, quite a lot of attention in time and things like that. Nothing too serious. It was just, she was unwell. But all is fine now with baby Moon. So work was very, very busy as well. But that's settled down a little bit as well. And the perfect storm came. I've always been pretty competitive in this game. Certainly not top tier, and nothing like the guys right at the top that spend money. But I've been always pretty competitive with as a free to play, and it has been genuinely hard. I have played this game for maybe 6 years now. It has been a long, long time, and I'll be honest. I have logged into this game. There is not a single day that I have missed logging into this game. And I'm still playing this game, in all honesty. I'm still enjoying this game, but not to the extent that I was. And that's the honest reality. I was not enjoying this game for what it was giving us. It was a ridiculous grind, and it continues to get worse and worse. So I've definitely taken a big step back. I left my current guild, Doombringer, and I've gone to a slightly lower guild where I can give like a little bit more of my time, or rather I don't have to give as much time to the game, because when you think about it, I think the straw that broke the camel's back for me was conquests, and conquest was a large issue in my mind of just ridiculous grinding. And I'll be honest, it was one of those things that, it's a lot of time. This game expects a lot of time from you. And unfortunately, I just didn't have that time. I also didn't have, let's put it this way. When I first started this game, I first downloaded this game in between seeing clients as a psychotherapist to pass the time if someone was late or I had half an hour to do. I've come a long, long way with this game, and I've gone through 6 years of from going from being a psychotherapist to working in sales in a few different areas. And this game has been a constant throughout my life. And I've never really noticed how much time, or certainly it wasn't as bad as it has been at this very point in time. Now, conquest was a big part of the breaking point for me. That's the one, and I've always said it. We're all on that treadmill. You just don't know when you're going to be stepping off that treadmill. We're all not on that treadmill, whether we think we are or not. We are, and everyone's time will come when they step off that treadmill. I definitely left it too late. I should have taken a step back from this game a long, long time ago. And I played this game less and less, interacted with people less and less on Discord and on YouTube, and just sort of put it to one side. And I've really enjoyed sort of grinding and getting General Master Kenobi, but honestly, I'm not chasing any new characters anymore. I will still go for the exec. I don't even know what it's called anymore. The Executor grind, and then I'll probably get Anakin. But I'm treating this game as I've cut my time down on this game massively. Grand Arena, I still like it. I still enjoy it. My favorite part of this game is now light side territory battles, because it is, in my opinion, the perfect level of hardness, of difficulty. And that for me is what I want. I don't want goofy, goofy feats to grind and chase and conquest pass. I've seen it in other games as well. It's just too much, and it was just too much for me. And during this conquest, I haven't even got to box one. I am over it. I'm over chasing those top rewards. So, how has that come about? Well, it's just a combination of things. It's time spent on this game, it's investment. I haven't done an arena climb in maybe 3-4 months, and it feels good to be unplugged from this game. It feels good to have some time back. It feels good to now dip into this game and not have to worry too much about it. So I'm definitely in a better place with this game and have a better relationship with this game. It is no longer a constant grind. It is no longer a constant massive time dump into this game, and I don't feel bad about it. I know a lot of people from all walks of life have left this game. I know new people have come into this game. I think this game is still in a pretty good place, and I will still continue to play this game. So that's sort of the good news, and I'm conscious of time, so I'm gonna sort of move on fairly quickly. I'll take another 4 minutes to talk about where I am with this game, how I'm treating it, and then I'll go on the next 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes, to explain maybe a little bit about where I'm heading. So in terms of this game, I'm now enjoying it for what it is. I genuinely feel that this game is a little bit behind the curve. I think we've all been craving content, more sort of PvE content. We've got plenty of PvP, in my opinion, but PvE content, maybe another territory battle, something like that. Conquest has just been all encompassing, and the fact that they've put the really good characters in there, and it is, again, it's just this social pressure of getting it first time, getting max loot, and it's just too much, honestly. I remember there was one point where I must have been on this game for about 5 or 6 hours in one stint, from doing Grand Arena, from doing Galactic challenges, from doing Conquest, from doing light side territory battle, whatever it was. I can't quite remember. They don't all align, but it was something ridiculous. It took me about what felt like 4 to 6 hours in a day of doing it. And that was the point where I just said, you know what, no more. So I then took a much more casual backseat approach and enjoyed it on my terms, which I think you should as a game. I think that is a healthy relationship, being able to plug in when you want and not having to plug into arena climbs. And I'm just parked in sort of 20th to 50th, and it's quite easy. I go in, collect my 150 a day. I don't spend many crystals, but I don't need many crystals now because I'm not sort of chasing that grind anymore, and that's the nice thing. So as I started having more time, I then started watching a lot more YouTube, and this was all different things. This was pyramids, this was ancient technologies, this was everything that you can think of. The wild, the wonderful, the whatever it was. And then one day, I'd had enough of that. I'd had enough at looking word giants around 10,000 years ago. And I typed in this question into Google: what is Bitcoin? What exactly is Bitcoin? Was the exact phrase that I used. And for some reason, obviously, a lot of us have heard of it. A lot of us have heard of Dogecoin. A lot of us have heard of SHIB, maybe Ethereum. And, genuinely, I think a lot of people have also heard of inflation. And this will be a very, very big thing that I'll sort of cover in this. Now, when I had a look into Bitcoin, I was just genuinely curious as to what it was. I'm that kind of person that kind of wants to understand things and understand how the world works. And a lot of you will probably even be invested in Bitcoin or other digital assets. And more and more, it struck me that we're kind of hurtling towards a digital age. Now, what I mean by this is there's been a few things in life that where I've sort of opened my eyes. And okay, so Bitcoin in a nutshell. After sort of watching that first video, that first documentary on, I think it was banking on Bitcoin on YouTube, that kind of got me hooked. And I then spent the last 2 to maybe 2.5 months reading about cryptocurrency, reading about all different things, about economies, about the history of things, about when Reagan came off the gold standard or America came off the gold standard, about governments printing money, about inflation and hyperinflation. And I think the vast majority of people will see inflation happening but not understand how to combat it. And for me, there was a phrase that stuck out, which is poor people spend. So what that means is, whenever that's hand to mouth living, if you're poor, you'll go out, you'll spend that money, you can't keep hold of it. Middle class people save, so they have all their money in a bank account. And when you think about how much interest your money is earning in a bank account, then it's next to nothing. And then rich people invest in assets. Now, this might be houses, this might be gold, this might be coffee, this might be whatever it is. This is assets. And more so, Bitcoin and everything like that is a digital asset. Now, Bitcoin, from the white paper, which is like the thesis on it, is incredibly interesting, and it was basically designed to take the banking system out of things. Whenever you try, remittances is a good example. So there's around about, I think, 680 million pounds a year, something like that, I think in a few countries, where people pay to transfer money. So if someone has gone from Cuba to America to work, and then they send money home to their family, well, if they want to send that money home, they've got to pay to do it. Now, that's whether it's through banks or there's always a third party or Western Union, and to get it there quickly, you need to pay $10. So if you're sending $100 home, now you've got to pay $10, 10% to get that money back home. So it was digital payment, essentially. It's being able to send at the speed of light and very, very cheaply money between one person and another. It's also a limited supply. And why is that limited supply important? Well, there's 21 million Bitcoin in existence. That's all there will ever be. Same as gold, there is a limited supply to a certain extent. And when there's a limited supply, the more people that want it, the higher the price will go. And cryptocurrency is an incredibly volatile asset. It's still in its infancy. It's maybe in its teens, actually. And I'm still learning a ton. And it is absolutely fascinating, the history of it, where it's going. And if you don't think that we're barreling towards a digital revolution, then you've got a big shot coming. Here's an example. A gentleman that I used to work with, his kid threw a fit, not an actual fit, but he was very, very angry one night, let's put it this way, that he couldn't have a Star Wars skin on Fortnite. That was it. Young people care about digital technology and digital things like NFTs. You may have heard of these, you may have not. You may think they're ridiculous. It's digital art. And there will always be collectors, and people's digital property matters to young kids and this next generation that's going to be coming up. The most important thing to think about is there are a few conditions coming up at the moment where it is a case of... Apologies, right, back to it, part 2. So Bitcoin is probably the best store of value. And going back to this, you look at Facebook, they've just created the Metaverse. You may have heard of the Metaverse. And there's Baby Boom making her ritual cameo in any video that I do. Now, with the Metaverse and Facebook, you will kind of be encouraged to go and meet your friends down the digital pub, live in a world where you can be whoever you want to be. And in my opinion, people don't really like themselves. Why do women wear makeup? They don't really like the way that they look to a certain extent. Why do people like being online, like being anonymous, like being whoever it is? Because they can kind of show their true selves. Whereas in real life, you kind of got to conform to social norms, I guess. So the metaverse is going to be absolutely massive. Facebook have just renamed themselves Meta. It is here to stay. There's also two massive contributing factors that are going to help this, which is going to be climate change. So if people are encouraged to go down the, travel digitally rather than in their cars or whatever it is, create a carbon footprint, that's going to be massive. The other side of things is COVID. If things do get worse, then obviously people are going to be encouraged to stay at home and do more online and things like that. So it has been an absolutely fascinating journey. And I guess the two rules are do your own research. Now, after a few hours, had very quickly invested in Bitcoin. I got my share on Bitcoin and I invested in at $30,000 when it was back at $30,000. I basically invested at the lowest possible time it could have been within the last couple of years. Well, I say that within the time frame that I could have. And it is genuinely fascinating. It's not financial advice, but I could probably find out a percentage for you. But doing my own research, that's going to be important. And again, it's shaky times. The inflation is happening to all of us. The best way, if you live in the UK, is a Freddo bar. That's for anyone not in the UK. That's a chocolate bar that used to be 10 pence, and there is outrage when it went to 15 or 20 or 25, and now it's at 50 pence. And that's inflation. And inflation is good if you own assets. So if you own a house, then inflation is good because the price of it goes up. But if you hold cash, it is literally like someone taking your purchasing power. Yeah, the number goes up. But if you imagine you had a trolley of shopping 20 or 30 years ago, and how much trolleys of shopping when you went to the supermarket, how full that trolley would be compared to £100 now in 2021. It's a big difference, massive difference. So even though the number has stayed the same, your purchasing power has gone down. And even though the number looks better, you might have 10, you might have 20,000 sat in an account, but you keep it there for 10 years. That hasn't done you any favors. That has lost purchasing power. When you think about people's pensions, and this is a big one, and this is kind of one of the reasons as to why I went all in, was because by the time I'm retiring age, I'm still pretty young, but by the time I get to retirement, my pension won't be worth anything due to inflation. And inflation is massively on the rise. So I encourage everyone to do their own research. And this has been incredibly like enlightening, incredibly entertaining, incredibly full of highs and lows and volatility. And that's the cryptocurrency markets. It's still, as I said, in its infancy. But you will start to see mass adoption. As Bitcoin reaches new all-time highs, then yes, you are going to see lots of articles. You're going to see lots of institutions in this. You're going to see lots of banks holding this as an asset. You're going to see lots of people lending against it. And it makes a lot of sense to me as a wise investment. So that's kind of where I want to take my channel, is maybe educational, maybe, in Discord. If you are in Discord, feel free to drop by if you do have any questions, where to get started, what resources to watch, etc., what platforms, where can you buy Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. Again, let me know. And the best way to learn about something is to teach about it. So I'm still massively, there's a huge space. There's decentralized finance. There's exchanges. There's wallets. There's what wallet should you have, a software, a hardware. There's tons and tons of things that I'm learning every single day. And again, if you ask me a question, I'll go and find the answer for you. And that's kind of one of the nice things, is having a community where you can talk to others about it. And, I am open for question, whatever it is. So again, feel free by all means to drop in on Discord. And if you are on Twitter, again, you can follow me on Twitter. I'll leave the links in the description down below. Let me know what you think, and let me know as well. Here's the important thing: is let me know where in the world you are, and have you noticed inflation, and how is it affecting you? Has it affected your rent? Has it affected the prices of food, which I'm guessing is the one that most people will realize? Has it affected your heating bills? Has it affected whatever it is? I guess technology is probably the best one. That's probably anti-inflationary. That has sort of bucked the trend. That's one of the best values for money. But yeah, let me know your thoughts as always, and genuinely interested to hear your thoughts on it. And yeah, I will leave you with that for now because it is a massive subject, and I'll leave it at that. I hope you are all well, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you're doing good in your little part of the universe and the world. I will see you all next time. I don't know when that will be, but if you would like to see what ones I'm holding, the results I've had over the last couple of months, where to start, let me know. Leave a comment. But yeah, more so I'm interested in where in the world you are, and how you, or have you noticed inflation is eating away at your money as well. So I will see you all next time. May the force be with you.